Child's Play 2, 1990. Uh, this movie is worse than the first one. I think it is a horrid piece of shit. I don't know what the fuck Universal was thinking bringing Chucky back in the first place for a sequel at all. Um, Brad Dourif is not that great, but he's not that bad either. He just doesn't try hard enough up until the third act. So, just like the first one from earlier, a few hours ago, if you want to see the movie first before this spoiler talk of the movie, stop watching now. Here we go. The opening scene is a CEO and another dude from the Playpals toy company. That's where they make all the good guy dolls and shit. They somehow got a hold of Chucky's remains from the first movie. Once again voiced by Brad Dourif. Immediate death, just to draw in fans. Something goes wrong with one of the machines while they repair his body, and he's brought to life by electrocution because his soul still inhabited the skull of the previous body that he was in from the first one. I'll be rubbing my head a lot because it's really hot in here. Like, I don't understand why. I have my fan on the highest setting every goddamn day and it just won't do anything. Anyway, Chucky is somehow fucking revived. They basically just got right down to it. Not even the first 10 minutes go by and it's just like, fuck this. Child's Play 2. Yay. Deal with it, bitches. We see Andy being put into a foster home. And his foster parents are Joanne, who you might remember from American Werewolf. Don't remember which fucking one, but I know that, piece of shit movie. And Phil. Phil and Joanne Simpson, believe it or not. No, this has no relation to The Simpsons, but spelled the same way. You fucking jagoffs at Universal from 1990. Looking at you, Mancini. You fucked up the seventh one. Oh yeah, I hold grudges, bitches. And I ain't gonna stop holding a grudge against Don Mancini. He fucked up 7 movies. 7. What the fuck? Thank God that United Artists took the rights back whenever they should have. Years and years ago. Anyway. So, Andy's looking around the house, and he finds a good guy doll. Oh no. It's not Chucky. But then we meet Kyle, played by Christine Elise, who makes a quick appearance in Cult of Chucky. Do not bring her back. It's not that I don't like her. It's not that I have anything against the actress. Do not bring back another fucking character just to blow them off like you did with Andy in the 7th one, which we will get to some other time. So, Andy, now 8 years old instead of 6, does a little bit better in this movie. He somehow finds another good guy doll who just, it's not Chucky. It's actually one called Tommy. And then meanwhile, Chucky is alive and he attacks and kills the CEO guy by suffocating himself. No, not himself, well, suffocating him with a plastic bag while forcing him to, after forcing him to drive to Andy's new foster home. And Chucky basically kills the Tommy doll after he gets into the house. And then he smashes Tommy, the Tommy doll's face in, so it looks all smashed and fucked up, by using a family heirloom, I guess. And the next morning, well, Chucky's actually taking Tommy's place. But why do you have to destroy it? Oh, then he buries it in the backyard. Filler. 90 seconds of filler. Now this is where the movie starts pissing me off. Yeah, after this scene, it starts pissing me off. And here's why. The next morning, Phil and Joanne are pissed about the family heirloom being broken, and Andy, for some reason, is. Well, Andy and Kyle are both blamed for it. Um, and, Andy notices that, the Tommy doll, it's actually Chucky now, in case you haven't figured that out yet, to see if he has batteries in him, and yep, trying to see if his paranoia was getting the best of him, but nope. This time it actually just is a regular doll. No, it's not. Watch till the third act. What happens next? Oh yeah. Andy goes to school. Chucky follows him on the bus. How come no one else saw him run around? Oh, I totally forgot to mention this as well. Chucky finally reveals himself to Andy one night by tying him up, and he tries saying the chant again, except it's wasted. For some reason, in that scene, he has brown hair like the first film, but throughout the rest of the movie, he has fucking orange hair. It makes no sense to me. Like, no sense at all. Just, what the fuck were they thinking whenever they did that? Anyway, at Andy's school, Andy's basically getting picked on, and the teacher, Miss Kettlewell, who Chucky also kills, just to bump off anyone that comes across him, basically, anymore, because he's crazy and stuff. For some reason, thinks that Andy is just trying to interrupt her while she's reading. Everyone's an idiot in these movies, like almost fucking everybody. Even Chucky at some points. I totally forgot to mention this in my Child's Play 1 spoiler alert from earlier, before recording this one. And my favorite line from him is where he's in the elevator and these two old people are there, and the one lady getting out of the elevator, she says, "Ugly doll," before closing the door. And then Chucky, as the elevator's going up, you don't actually see him say this, but you can hear him, and it's the funniest line of the movie. It goes up, and he's just like, "Fuck you." It's just, it's like the funniest line out of the entire movie. Back to Child's Play 2. And right before Miss Cattlewell first shows up, Chucky is seen in Andy's classroom, basically sabotaging his paper. I'm trying to get through this quickly because I don't want to go through every fucking detail, because this movie pisses me off more than the fucking first one does. And trust me, the next one is worse than these first two put together. Anyway, Miss Cattlewell finds the paper that Chucky sabotaged with Andy's name on it, and it says, "Get a load of this. Fuck you, bitch." That's actually what it says in red writing. And it's all scribbled yellow, too. And Miss Cattlewell thinks that Andy did that, and so she puts him in detention and basically throws him in his desk, which is kind of out of place for a character to do that to a kid. But hey, it's 1990. They still use paddles to beat the shit out of kids. Well, you get the idea of where I'm coming from, though. That's what happened back in the 90s. You get beat up by basically anyone for anything that you do. It's a thing. I mean, schools actually did that. And so, enough talking about that. Chucky is thrown into the closet by Miss Cattlewell. She leaves to call Andy's foster parents about what he supposedly did to his paper. And he gets up, and Chucky's eyeball goes over to the door, and he gives the funniest line out of the entire movie. "Please let me out of here, Andy. It's dark in here. I promise I won't kill anyone else, okay? Now open that goddamn door. Let me out, you little dig. Let me the fuck out of here." And all that. Whenever he says, "It's dark in here," I honestly get a small bit of a laugh out of that. These movies still have funny lines, usually more than one, but that was the only funny line out of this movie. Yay. Anyway, I don't want this to take 20 minutes again, because it took fucking hours for the first one to upload. Because it was over 20 minutes, it takes long as hell. Uh, but it takes not that long when you're at 15 minutes or so, so I'll try to make this brief. I'll sum it up. Andy escapes through the window. Miss Kettlewell comes back, opens the closet, and finds Chucky inside, and he beats her to death with a fucking yardstick. It's not a ruler, it's a yardstick. And he's just walking up to her, and he's like showing off his teeth, kind of like Freddy Krueger, kind of like this. And he's just like, "You've been very naughty, Miss Kettlewell." And he, just looking at her like this, beats her to death. And every time that he does, whack, dramatic music, and zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. And he's back at home trying to tell the parents what happened, trying to tell them about Chucky, but they don't believe him. Oh no! Who gives a shit? Anyway, it's just that he doesn't get a break. Anyway, and to how the hell did Chucky get back there so damn fast? Like, did he hitch another ride on a few cars on his way back? Did anyone happen to pick him up after school and drop him off at Andy's door or something? It just makes no sense to me. I just gotta set this down. My foot's going to sleep. I'm literally on one knee right now, and my foot's going to sleep. So then, they notice that Chucky is back in the basement. So then the next night, we get a nice shot of Andy getting a knife and going to the basement to finish Chucky off, trying to destroy him once and for all. Chucky tackles him, just like in the first one, except they use it as a jump scare effect, but we know it's coming. Phil goes down to see what's going on, and Chucky trips him and says actually the actual funniest line of the movie. He's just holding a crowbar, and he's just like, "How's it hanging, Phil?" And then he drops him, and Phil's neck snaps. Joanne and Kyle race down, and Joanne screams at Andy to get away from her when he's trying to walk near to see what's going on. Because she thinks Andy did it. Ow, my fucking foot's asleep. Pins and needles. Can't feel this foot. Yeah, it's pale. There's no blood rushing through it. Oh, that is better. I can feel it now. Yay. Joanne decides to send him back to the foster care place. The lady Grace is there to take him back. And Chucky comes alive and off screen completely, kind of wasted, kills off Joanne. It was an apparent suicide, but I guess Chucky killed her already. Don't know how, because we never heard a struggle, a scream, or any kind of noise. What else? He attacks Kyle and forces her at knife point, I think. Yeah, knife point, to drive her, to drive Chucky to Andy's foster place, so that way he can get out of the doll's body, because his nose bleeds throughout the film like 3 or 4 times, showing that he's becoming more human. In case you didn't know, that was what happened whenever Chucky went to visit John in the first film. So there you go, extra bit for the first one. Chucky has Kyle pull the fire alarm in the building. Everyone rushes out, and Grace tries to take Chucky from them for some reason. Comes alive in Grace's arms, and of course kills her. What else? Chucky locks Kyle out of the supposed room for a minute or two, and Chucky just looks at Andy, and he's just like, "Okay, sport, we're gonna have a little game of Chucky says. Chucky says, move your ass." And Andy's just looking like not very into it at all. And Chucky's just like, "Snap out of it! You act like you never seen a dead body before." Okay. Yeah, Andy barely has any fucking emotion in these films. Except the third one, he does have more emotion. Just why'd you need him for that one? Third one was fucking stupid. But don't worry, like I said, we'll get to that one. To sum this up, Kyle gets pulled over. They do a little jab about Chucky's nosebleed. The cop lets her go, and they make it there. Everything happens. Chucky and Andy escape. Well, Chucky forces Andy to leave. They hitch a ride on the back of a newspaper truck, I'm guessing it is. And they go to the good guys' Play Pals factory, where the movie opened from. So, yay, full circle. Kind of. Anyway. Um, Chucky tries to transfer his soul into Andy's body, says the full chant, but it doesn't work, and he's now trapped inside of the doll's body forever. Chucky screams and starts bitching and screaming at the top of his lungs, like, "You little shit, do you know what you've done? It's too late. I've spent too much time in here. I'm fucking trapped in here." Kyle gets there actually quite quick, just at the right moment, I guess. Throws a bunch of boxes on the Chucky, burying him for just a quick moment. And Andy and Kyle start running, trying to find an exit or something to kill Chucky with. And Chucky decides just to kill them because he's got no real goal now. It takes a few minutes for him to pop up again. They try going up a conveyor belt, and Chucky loses his hand. I'm guessing it is. Yeah, his hand. So he replaces it with his signature knife. Why is it a signature knife? He even uses an axe at one point in the fifth one. And the sixth one for one scene. And a drill in the seventh one. And a piano wire in the fifth one. Anyway. And a gun in the fourth one. Third and fourth. Anyway. He tries to chase them again and gets his torso cut off. So he drags his torso around on a little wheel cart. He basically gets drenched in molten plastic after getting his knife hand stuck into a heater for the molten plastic machine. And he gets the bright idea to pour molten plastic all over Chucky's body. And Chucky's basically unable to move because he's now melted, and his skin, plastic skin basically, is now fused with it. I don't know. I guess you put plastic onto hot plastic, and then it dries like that, and he's stuck like that. So he tries to just lunge at them with whatever's left of his upper body, because he can't really move his arms because they're stuck. Then he gets an air hose shoved in his mouth, which makes his head expand and explode. Brains and blood flying everywhere. And he's dead. TV cliffhanger shows that a chunk of his head went into the molten plastic vat after his head exploded. Yeah, it turns out a piece of it flew up into the air and landed in a molten plastic vat, creating a new head, and it gives a smile like this. Something like that. And in the theatrical cut, Andy and Kyle leave the factory during the day. For some reason, that took all night. And Andy asks Kyle, where are they going? Kyle says, home. Andy asks, where's home? And Kyle says, Andy, I have no idea. And then after that, the movie just ends. Why the fuck did this thing exist? Chucky wastes his own time to switch bodies with Andy, and when he tries to, he does it at like the absolute wrong time. It's just, this is just no. I honestly don't understand where the conception of doing a third ever came from. Friday the fucking 13th was supposed to stop after the goddamn second one, but you just had to make more, you dumbasses. And again, Don Mancini, whatever you do, don't bring Kyle back. If you're bringing back for the TV show just to get killed off, A, that is pointless, and B, why do you even care about going any fucking further? You should have stopped after 2. There is nowhere else to go. The third one is a horrible movie, the worst one of the series. Don't worry, there's a least to greatest that I plan on doing, so actually there will be 12 parts to this. Um, so yeah. Anyway, Child's Play 2, just like the first one, gets a thumbs fucking down. 1 star out of fucking 7. I give 7 stars instead of 5 because number 7, my favorite number in the entire world, and I only go by 7s. But don't worry, this is not the worst Chucky movie, Child's Play 2. I think that there's one movie in the series, one movie that is even fucking worse than this one. You might know what that is.